Hey guys, how's it going out there? So today we are going to be talking about Oaxis Entertainment, which if you're not familiar, Oaxis Entertainment was a crowdfunding effort by Butch Hartman, who is the creator of Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents. It was a crowdfunding effort to make a 24/7 live streaming service which was purely for family friendly and kid friendly content. Original. It was going to be completely original kid and family friendly content, which was going to be shows, movies, and I think there was going to be a few other programs. And Butch Hartman was wanting to launch this as a full streaming service, like a Netflix or a Hulu. And he was asking for about $250,000 to launch the streaming service. And he actually got not only the amount he wanted, but he got more. He actually got over $260,000, which was more than the goal set. And since he passed the goal about 7 years ago, there has been an astounding lack of anything with this project. I mean, pretty much this has been a dead project since it was launched. And matter of fact, when you go to the website, the official Axis website, you'll see people commenting in the last few years asking either to get refunds or to ask what the fuck happened? I paid into this and nothing's come up from it, so is it delayed or what's going on? And it seems like that there's not even anyone still involved with Oaxis, because at least a few years ago, Oaxis would respond to people that were asking for updates or asking like what was going on, and they would say like, oh, we're still working, or we're still trying to get everything together. But now Oaxis doesn't even respond to new comments. There's pretty much nothing like information wise about it. And when you go to the website, it still has pretty much the same shit on there from in June when this was posted 7 years ago. And so I guess the question is, was this just a scam from the beginning? Like, was this is something? Because the thing about this Oaxis, which I didn't understand back then, and makes even less sense now, is Butch Hartman is a professional veteran in entertainment. He's worked for Disney, he's worked for Nickelodeon, he's made several iconic shows, he's made several shows in general. I didn't understand, like, how is it that you need this to be crowdfunded? Like, someone who is well connected as you are should have the connections with producers, executives, media moguls. Like, you should be well connected to be able to get the people, even if this fails. Like, you should still be able to find people who can get the funding, get the infrastructure, get all the components you need to actually make a streaming service. I never understood why he was asking people, just like regular people, for this. I'm like, dude, this would be like, someone who's like been making shows for 20 years asking regular people to fund a show, when it's like you should be able to do that on your own. Like, I don't know why you're asking the public for it. So the fact that he was even asking for a crowdfunding or any type of Kickstarter was weird to begin with. But then also the amount he was asking for is just cosmically fucking ridiculous. I mean, I need that you're going to make a 24/7 streaming service off of $250,000. It's just insane. Because not only was this going to be a 24-hour streaming service, but he was going to have fully original content. Like, there was going to be no, like, already established content. This was all going to be original shows and movies from content creators. So that meant he was going to have to foot the bill for all the production of these shows and movies, which, to make a movie is going to cost a few million. To make a show is going to cost a few thousand. Some of that, and some shows might actually go up into the millions. So to even just make content, it's going to cost like the whole entirety of this fucking crowdfunding effort. Like, even though they exceeded the goal, even with the like exceeded goal amount, which is in like the 260,000 range, you're still going to need a lot of you're going to need millions of dollars to make this work. And you're going to need a consistent money flow to fund this 24 hours. Like, you're going to need an IT department, IT infrastructure, technical infrastructure, technical support, customer support, multi-platform, cross compatibility to where you can, play this on your phone and tablet with Android, Apple. Like, there's just so much shit that what has to go into this. And I'm like, I don't know how you even think 200,000, 300,000 for anything short of a few million. I don't know how you would have thought that this would have been enough, because Butch Hartman was like adamant at the time that if they got this goal, that they would be able to make the streaming service. And I'm just like, how the fuck did you even think that was possible? Especially someone of like a Butch Hartman, like, this is someone who has been very hands-on with the process of making shows and dealing with networks. Like, he should at least have a rough idea of like how much money it's going to cost to just have a show made. Like, he knows how much just to make a show cost. So like, that's a show cost. That's not even factoring in like this having the streaming service being functional. So that was just ridiculous that like he even thought this was even a viable goal to begin with. But then that also kind of brings up the question of, if this was a scam, which I mean, I think at this point it's safe to say this was a scam, I don't understand why he would make this as a scam, because, I mean, from what I've seen, and I don't keep too up to tabs with Butch Hartman, I mean, he's not someone who seems to be just desperate for money. And, I mean, he hasn't really made a lot of stuff since Oaxis. Like, I think he's made a few obscure shows on some very obscure platforms. But there's not anything he's done where I could see he would have put this money into that wasn't Oaxis. So, I mean, I guess he could have just done this just to get $250,000 for something he was personally doing that he was actually interested in instead of this. But at the same time, and maybe it's just me being a little bit naive, but it seemed like Butch Hartman was kind of passionate about this. Like, he was kind of into making this a thing. Granted, like, I don't know how he thought this was ever going to be viable, but it seemed like he was at least wanting to try to make this work. But it doesn't look like it. It doesn't really look like from the beginning he was into making this work, because that's the thing, is also this goal was exceeded at the time. Like, it's not like it's taken years for him to get this goal. This goal was exceeded, I think, in 2019. So like, this goal was finished like in a short time after it was made. So it's not even like he has the excuse of saying that it took so many years to get the funding that things just fell apart. No, this was funded within a few months of it being launched on Kickstarter. So that he had the money, he had the actual crowdfunding goal and then some, and nothing has happened. Like, if you look on the website, they still pretty much have all the information posted from when the first Kickstarter was made back in June. It looks like nobody's even actually touched the fucking website. Like, it seems like this thing has been stuck on the same information and the same layout like it was from 7 years ago. And people are just left wondering what the fuck. Like, they have over 1,000 backers, so over 1,000 people put money into this thing. They have $260,000 that was raised, and there's nothing to show for it. There is nothing. Like, I've looked on the Oaxis website, I've looked online. There is nothing. They have a website that has nothing on it. I mean, as far as like for streaming service, they don't have a show. There's nothing. So yeah, this is pretty much just a dead project. I don't even know if you want to call it a project, because I don't even think this was ever actually in the works. Like, at the time, I actually thought that maybe Butch Hartman was trying to use the money he got from the crowdfunding to actually supplement that with other different funds and crowdfunding, but no. I don't think that there was ever any type of interest in making this a real, actual project. I think that this was just a poorly constructed scam that Butch Hartman just racked up, $200,000+ and put that to something he was actually into. And now he's actually come out and he's talking about launching his own animation studio. So he's on to something completely different. Butch Hartman's on to a whole new other thing. He has no fucking interest in Oaxis. He hasn't brought it up to that I know of in the last few years. He pretty much goes out of his way to make this seem like something that did not exist. I don't think he's acknowledged Oaxis, and I don't think he probably will, because to try to mention it, for him to try to address this at this point, it just comes off looking like a fucking shady, scam that he exploited people from, or with. Because He took these people's money. It's been over 7 years. There's been absolute silence on any type of updates. There has not been a single show made. There hasn't even been made a site to actually stream anything on. They have an outdated 7+ year fucking website. And that's it. And people are just out of their money and they're just fucked. Because I mean, I know that on some like crowdfunding efforts, if like there's not results, you can appeal to get your money back. But I don't know, because people, even as of recently, have been posting on Oaxis, like asking, like, "Hey, I paid into this and I haven't heard anything." Because I guess they were having like newsletters and updates for a few years after Oaxis got launched, but it seems like that's kind of stopped. And I know that some people might say that, well, the pandemic probably, was a factor, but the problem with that is that this was made, and I might be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that the original crowdfunding effort was way before the pandemic. I think that this was launched in like 2018, so this was like a year, at least 2 years before the pandemic. So they had well more than enough time to actually get something going before the pandemic happened. So you can't even give them the leeway of like, well, this bad timing with the pandemic. No, this had like a ample amount of time to actually have something up and going, and there's nothing. And so yeah, I think that this is pretty much just gonna be I don't know what you call it. I mean, I just think it was a scam. Granted, a poorly put together scam. And it's unfortunate because Butch Hartman actually has a following. I don't know about now, because his reputation has taken a very massive hit since Oaxis has come out, 7 years ago. But he has a sizable fan base and a sizable following that is loyal enough to actually fund this and are into it. And he has over 1,000 people that are willing to back it. And the fact that he just has done nothing with it is just fucking insane. That he just took the money from this and did whatever with it, and has just pretty much made it seem like this is never something that happened. It's just fucking wild to think about, that you can just make a crowdfunding project, take the money from it, have nothing to show. Well, 70 years later, people have no information. You don't even address the project anymore, and just go about your day. Like, it's so fucking wild that Butch just pretty much took $260,000 and said thanks for the money and left, and never looked back. But yeah, so that's it for me on this. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that this was a scam the whole time, or do you think Butch actually was into this at some point, that he was like actually wanting this to work? Let me know down below in the comments. But with that said, I'm going to call it a day here, and until next time, take it easy out there.